What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. This is TW Motorsports, and today, yes, we are back on the Tahoe. Now, you guys have been asking for this, so we are going to try it, and that is the roof rack removal. Now, it's about 90-10. About 90% of you guys say I should ditch it. About 10% of you say I should keep it. Here's my thinking on it. If we don't like it and it looks stupid, or there's a big chunk of paint missing or a bunch of rust, then we'll probably put it back on. But I've done this 3 different times. Well, this will be the 3rd time I've done it. I've probably done it more than that, but we're using a different method than I've ever used before, and we'll talk about that later on when we talk about filling the holes. But we need to get the old roof rack off, and as you guys know, or may not know, I have a huge chunk of paint missing here, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that. I may end up just leaving it, but it is there. It makes me crazy, like really crazy. Also have an OnStar, or not OnStar, but a XM antenna back there, and it's still working, so I've left it. Normally I would ditch that as well, but hey, free XM. I don't know if this guy paid for like a couple years of subscriptions, but hey, it's there, so I'm gonna use it. But this one's a little bit different on the Z71 Tahoes than the normal Tahoes, because normally there's just 2 bolts here, which there still is, but there's a cover covering that up. So we're obviously going to have to remove those covers in order to get access to the bolts that actually hold it to the roof. And so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go grab the covers that, or the Torx bit. I don't know what size it is. I'll let you guys know here in a minute what it is, but the Torx bit to get those out of the way, these covers. Once we get those out of the way, then we should be able to access the 2 that hold it to the roof. And like I said, later on when we get to that point, we'll show you guys what I'm going to do to plug these holes, but chances are we're going to have some cleanup to do around these areas. I know this thing's set under a tree because every time I wash it, like pieces of tree and bark come out of it, so chances are it's going to be pretty dirty. But I'm going to go grab the tool. We're going to get these plastic pieces out of the way, and well, we'll go from there. So I don't have an attachment for a ratchet, so I'm having to use the old school Allen key method, and it is a 2.5 millimeter, which is kind of small. I thought it was 3, but a 3 is just too big, so we're gonna have to manually take this off. I was really wanting to use a ratchet, but we'll get them off with this. This may take a little longer. I hate using these, and it's just an extra step that I didn't want to have to take. So we have, let's see here, there's 2 here on the front cover, and then there's 2 on the back cover, so obviously 8 of these to take out. Once we get these out, hopefully, try not to rub it against the paint, hopefully once we get them out, then this cover will come off. I've never taken one of the Z71 racks off. I've only taken off the ones that don't have the covers, which aren't quite as big. I'm assuming these things have clips. Let me know in the comments, guys. Hopefully I don't bust it. I'm trying to take it off, but I'm assuming there's some sort of clip. Yeah, there is. Oh, gross. Yeah, these are quite a bit bigger down here. But I think this rack is separate. It looks like it has a 10 millimeter bolt here holding the actual rack to this, so that's interesting. I don't know how the center sections are put together, but I'm gonna go ahead and get all these covers off, and then we'll go from there. So now that we have all of those 2.5 millimeter Allens out, you can see we have access to the bolts that hold us to the roof. So there's one here, there's one here. I know that there's another one under here, and then there's 2 back here, so 5 on each side. But in order to get access to these center ones, I believe we're gonna have to take out, you can see these 10 millimeters right here. So we're gonna take these 4 out. There's one here, obviously in the back, and then on both sides. So the next thing I'm doing is I'm taking these center supports out. So the two cross grids in there, I've already got that one out, and I'm just going to slide this other one out. Now that we have the center cross dividers out, I'm going to go ahead and take these loose. Now these are 4mm Allens. I'm going to take this one and this one, and the reason being, guys, is this has to slide forward or back in order to gain access here. So I can't do that because there's a stud sticking up, the one I took the 10mm off of. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off, sneak them out from underneath, and that should give me the ability to slide this thing. So now that we have that front one loose, we just need to slide it just like that. You can see how it hooks on there. Kind of a pain in the butt, to be honest with you. But I also noticed that it looks like I have an additional hole back here. So we're gonna have to look. I'm gonna grab the, it's a Torx bit, of course. We'll get it off there, and we'll kind of show you this whole process. But before that, I'm gonna go to the other side, go ahead and remove the crossbar on it. Now I'm going to remove that center post, same size, and you have access down the very middle of that. So hopefully you guys can see that Allen key sticking out of the center. I'm unable to get my impact in there at an angle that I like, and I don't want to strip it. So I am taking it out with just an Allen key. So now that we have all of that off, the last thing is you can see this T25. Hopefully you guys can see that right there. That needs to come out. So I think I didn't buy enough bolts to plug holes, but we will see once I get that out of the way. Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and take it out. I did have to clean it out with a brush. Make sure you get it nice and clean, that way you're not stripping it. So as you can see, it is off now. So let's take a look at the ginormous mess that we have. And we do, like I thought we would. I mean, dust and dirt settles under there. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take some towels and get the majority of this wiped down. We're probably gonna have to paint correct this. I don't know if I'll show you guys that process, but you guys have seen me paint correct stuff before, and this will be no different. I'll probably go over it with some M105 and then M205, but it is off. And man, we got a lot of cleaning to do. So I'm gonna go grab some cleaning supplies. And the first pass, like I said, I think I'm just gonna use some towels and get the big stuff out of the way. And then we'll work more on getting this. I'm sure it's stained underneath what you guys are seeing here. So we'll work on that after we get the majority of the big stuff off. All the big junk cleaned off. I'm gonna go over this with my buffer. You can see it over there on the ground, and some M205. I might not even do the 105 at this point, because I think at some point I might do the whole roof. And man, this makes me crazy. This is crooked, but I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it alone. But we're gonna see if we can get this outline of stains. Hopefully you guys can see that with the sun. We're gonna see if we can get those outlines off. And I think maybe a couple passes with that, we'll be able to do it. Now the clear's probably etched there, so we're not gonna get real crazy as far as like, if you were to see it in certain light, which isn't, sorry, I had to touch the mic. If you see it in certain light, it's probably gonna show up, but being on the roof of the truck, it's probably not gonna be that big of an issue. So I'm gonna grab that. We're gonna see if we can whip out these stains. So after buffing just a hair over forever, I was able to get a majority of the staining out. So there's some spots like right here. My buffer just can't get in that corner, and so I'm not going to be able to do anything with that. But I honestly, guys, I'm a little too picky, because the fact is that it has a big chunk of paint missing. I don't know why I even bothered, but that's just how I do things. But we've got that all cleaned off, and we are now ready to put the bolts in. Now, I've done this a couple different ways. So in the past, I've used like the little Christmas tree push pins, kind of like the similar to what your inner fender goes with. So on my black Tahoe, and I'll list both those videos down below in the description, guys, but on the black Tahoe, that's what I did. I just used plastic push-in pins, put a little silicone on them, and I pushed them down in, and never had any leaks or any issues. The next one, so the white Tahoe that I just did probably 6 months, maybe a little longer before, I'll post that video down here as well, I used kind of like the license plate bolts. So the license plate screws screwed in, and then I had the little caps like you see, the decorative caps, and I just painted those white. I didn't really care for that option because they overhung and looked kind of weird. So now what I've decided to do, and I've already painted these, I didn't want to have to show you guys that process, but I just found some button screws. And now I did paint them white, and it's not really, chances are I'm probably going to scratch them up when I put them in. But the other thing is I bought 10 of them, and obviously I need 12, because on the older Tahoes, or at least on this model, it has an extra hole right here. I'm used to the 2 here, 1 in the center, and then the 2 up front. I did not know that it had this. So I also have some stainless bolts that the threading on these is, it's M6 by 1 is the thread pitch, and then I got a couple different lengths. I got a let's see here, this one I believe is 25 millimeter, and it fits good. So the next thing we need to do is we're gonna have to put something around this. Now when I originally bought the stainless, I was thinking about painting them, but it's gonna be hard to get something to stick to stainless. So that's why I went with these button head style. They were black, and so I sanded them down, and I'm obviously gonna have to get 2 more of those. But for now, I'm just gonna use maybe a little silicone or some Teflon tape to put these in. That way they don't leak around the threads. Now, I will say that when I took this off, there's a little bit of silicone around the outside. Now, whether that is for the insert and it's gonna leak around the insert, we'll just have to see. I've never had any issue with that before. I've never put anything around it. So I don't really think that's going to happen, but if it does, we may have to rethink this whole process. So I'm going to go grab some Teflon tape, and we're going to go ahead and screw these things in. Now that we have them all wrapped in Teflon tape, I'm going to go ahead and put them into place. Now, as I said, I'm obviously short 2, so in the back I'm going to use those stainless ones that I bought for now. And all I used to paint these was just some etching primer and just some matching white paint. And it's not a spot-on match by any means, but because it's so far away from, you know, the eye, I guess you could say, it's not too bad. And I am scratching the inside of this, but I can always go back and touch this up later. Definitely scratched the inside. Not a big deal though. I've got some touch-up paint, and this thing has a lot of spots where it needs touch-up paint, believe me. This last one, unfortunately, is a Phillips. But we'll get it fixed. I won't show you guys an update video unless it leaks, guys. Then I'll show you a video of what I'm doing to fix it. But I've never had any issue before, so I don't foresee me having any issue now. The factory does put some thread locker or Teflon tape on these, so just know that it does, they do put something on them. So now we got what? Well, 12 minus 3, we got 9 left to do. We'll see if we can knock those out real quick. We now have all the bolts in, and I will tell you guys that don't over tighten, because one of these started to spin on me. So the upside to this is that these don't set like down. Water will actually run away from them, so chances are they're not going to leak. I did have, I think it was this one, and it's not spinning by hand, but one on the other side too. The middle two are the ones that seem to want to spin when I started to snug them down. But as you can see, I am going to have to touch up in the center. I knew that was going to happen, but look, yeah, so it doesn't really matter. The other thing is obviously we got to get 2 more for the back here. Now I will tell you guys that this one has a little channel around it, so you might want to especially watch these in the back, since they're not kind of on a dome. These are kind of on a dome. Like I said, the water runs away from them, but this one has like a little channel around it. So I may end up having to put a little silicone around that. And if I do that, I'll just tape off around it so I don't have a big smudge of silicone everywhere. But I think it looks better, guys. And I went back and forth on taking the roof rack off. I always think it looks cleaner, and it's something I've always done on other vehicles or other Tahoes or whatnot. But on the Z71, I just thought because of the size and the bars on the side, it kind of went with it. But honestly, I'm kind of liking it. Let me know in the comments what you think, but I'm not going to remove the bars. I know a couple of you guys had said that, but those are going to stay. The side bars are staying. The plastic trim on the bottom is going to stay. I'm going to leave the fender flares. I think it's going to look pretty good lowered. I don't know. We'll just have to see. If I end up putting the roof rack back on, I probably will repaint it, because there were some spots on it that were kind of sun faded and whatnot. But ultimately, as long as it doesn't leak, I think I'll probably keep this, and then if it does leak, I might mess around with it before I put it back on. But I think I do like the cleaner look, guys. So if you like this video, guys, it was your idea. Like I said, I went back and forth. I was about 50-50 on it, but you guys, about 90% of you, like I said, wanted to see me take the roof rack off. So if you think it looks better, go down in the comments, let me know. If you think I should put it back on, let me know that as well. But if you did enjoy this video, guys, like always, please smash that thumbs up button. If you're not subscribed, guys, you got to go down, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell icon. That way you're notified every single time we pop a new video up on the channel. And well, guys, we have a ton more planned on this. We don't have anything planned on the Buick and all the stuff in the garage. So I also have been looking at another vehicle, so you're gonna have to stay tuned. We have a lot more coming.